It's common knowledge that Godzilla has always been a metaphor for the nuclear age, but this takes it to a whole new level. Hello everyone, welcome back to another figure review. My name is Matthew, and today we're continuing our road with SH MonsterArts Revisited. Today we're looking at the SH MonsterArts Godzilla 2001 original version from the 2001 movie, Godzilla, Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack. What? Yeah, for you general viewers who are watching, you might have just realized, what kind of a freaking title is that? Well, that is the official title for the movie, or as it's often abbreviated, G.M.K. That said, that's what I'm going to be referring to it as in this review, as G.M.K. So don't expect me to say Godzilla, Mothra and King Ghidorah, Giant Monsters All Out Attack every single damn time I say the movie. Anyways, so, being from G.M.K, this is a different take on Godzilla, formed from the souls of dead World War II victims. That said, is this guy really good, or is it just, let's find out. For those that are unaware, this was my very first SH MonsterArts figure. Before Ultima, before King Ghidorah 91, before GVK Godzilla, and even the KOTM Godzilla, this was it. The very first one. And being my first experience with the MonsterArts brand, because admittedly I did kind of have a distaste for them being super expensive and everything, this was not a bad first impression. Let me just start off by saying that. So we would normally talk about things like accessories. There actually is none, which is ultimately the figure's biggest problem. I feel like across this guy and his Spitfire version, he should have came with the beam. Now, it is important to note that while MonsterArts figures typically these days don't come with beam effects as far as the base figure is concerned, although I think 89 or 91, no, actually I don't think either of those two came with a beam. I'm trying to think off the top of my head which base figure for MonsterArts recently, because I don't keep up with the MonsterArts line that much, actually comes with a beam. I know some of the MonsterVerse Godzilla re-releases, like the 2024, and some of the repaints of the 2019 sculpt do have beam effect, and there's that mechagodzilla that has the beam effect, and all the other repaints. But as far as strict standard versions, we haven't really seen that in a good while. And I feel like with this guy, you could have really featured something. Because a problem that I do have is that MonsterArts makes a repaint called the Heat Ray version. It's not the Heat Ray Charge Up, it's called the Heat Ray version. You're giving him the Heat Ray or the Atomic Breath, but you don't package one in with it. It's supposed to look like he's charging up the beam, which is why you get that little shine in that repaint's mouth, but you don't get the beam. That's my biggest problem. And, I mean, say what you will about this one, you could have said, oh, it's being for a repaint, but again, that never happened. There was a repaint, but it didn't come to be. I feel like it should have. Also, there's also just no accessory in general, so you're basically just getting the figure, which is that an inherently bad thing? Honestly, your mileage will vary. I kind of would have liked something like maybe a building, explosion, maybe a heart. I mean, at the end of the movie, he gets a heart just imploded, and then only his heart remains beating. That would have been cool. But alas, I think I've spent enough time rambling about the lack thereof accessories, so let's take a look at the actual figure. So for the actual figure, this figure was sculpted by Yuji Sakai, I believe, and then everything else was just done by different designers and manufacturers, like the articulation cuts and yada yada. So for the head, we have actually something interesting here, because normally, fuzz again, G.M.K had pure white eyes. This figure actually does something different. A normal eye would be the dark black for the pupil and the white for the eyeball itself. That is actually reversed here, where it almost looks like the yellow, I was looking at the teeth when I said that. The white is actually the pupil, and the gray surrounding it is the eyeball itself. That's an interesting concept. Granted, that's not accurate to the film, but it is actually pretty damn sweet. Although, because of that, it almost gives the illusion that he's like derpy from the front. And as you can see, once you see it, you can't get really out of it. But for the actual detail, let's actually kind of zoom in. You can actually like see very well. Like, look at the amount of paint and detail that's actually on the actual like eyeball. That's really sweet. I know there's like a bit of fuzz, but this figure is like how old in my collection, so really not much I can do about that. Afterwards, I'm going to give this guy a good rinse. Something of note as well is that the texture as well is very bumpy. We have a lot of nice like little grooves and textures. The dorsal plates going down the back, the little nose as well, and the very puffed up cheeks. Like, those are actually like pretty widened for the head shape, which it should be worth noting that G.M.K. Godzilla has a proportionally bigger head than most Godzillas, especially in the Millennium era, where Final Wars, 1999, I mean, and the Kiryu Saga Gojis had very more smaller heads. G.M.K. was pretty big for its time, but for the mouth, the teeth paint, I would say, actually is pretty decent. It's very much kind of like one note color tone, and you do get a fair amount of the paint. There is like some splotches where it does like connect to multiple teeth. That could have been cleaned up a little bit more. And the fact of the matter is, I kind of wish there was like some gum paint or like lip paint around it. But on the inside of the mouth, you get some nice like detail work. I don't necessarily agree with the color choice because it looks a bit more brown than it should be more red, but it could be accurate to the movie. Again, it's been a while since I've seen G.M.K. as a film. I'd have to rewatch it for Godzillathon 2025, which yes, it's coming. I just have to figure out like when to actually launch the series. Just because, like, if I'm reviewing 38 consecutive movies, it's gonna take me a damn long time, even if it is weekly. So that'll be a work in progress. So I think we've spent enough time dabbling about the head. There's the tongue, just for good measure. You do get a bit of a wash at the top of the mouth, but again, that's that. So moving down to the neck, we do get a lot of nice little segments and details. The front of the neck here looks very nice. Not too much in the way of like dry brush, wash, or spray, which I do find a little disappointing because I feel like having him dirtied and roughed up really would bring out G.M.K's like more, I guess almost like what he was doing with Baragon. You remember that fight? He really got down and dirty with Baragon. Just swiped him away with his tail. But the detail here does remain consistent, very much so. For the chest here, we do have some like little mild white accents here. It's very mild, but you can still see it. Looks very nice, little details, very uniform and very cool, very sporadic as well. For the arms here, very small, like in proportion, sure, but they are pretty well done. I kind of wish there was like a bit of a wash here, but you're gonna hear me say that because I do think that the MonsterArts figures could use some like extra washes to them, and that's like a common critique I have with them. The hands though, you do get like the painted claws, which they look nice as well. Both sides, mine are a little bit scuffed, but again, happens with age. For the dorsal plates, I think that overall speaking, I'm a little underwhelmed with the dorsal plates. The design of them, perfect. I don't think that anything would have been changed about this if I was the one designing this figure. I definitely think that the actual bendage of the dorsal plates here does kind of look a little confusing, but it's meant to look like that. The part that I'm realistically underwhelmed about is going to be the colorization. I don't mean to talk about it like specifically in this video because this is a MonsterArts solo review, but in my personal opinion, the NECA did this better because they added white frost to it. This does have a bit of a white spray to it, but it's so minute, and you can tell it's there, but it doesn't really bring it out. G.M.K didn't have like the most vibrant white dorsal plates, but they were definitely brighter than this. And I feel like, especially with how accurate the design itself is, I feel like they could have at least given the paint a bit more oomph, realistically speaking. But the dorsal plates here are very well designed. I'm very much pleased with how they look here. They really look the part. You get a lot of nice like detail and such. Got like a bit of like whatever this peach stuff is. I think that's supposed to be a wash, but yeah, it just looks really nice, and all the little cracks and crevices, and especially like the bigger plates, which by the way, these are going to be solid plastic, so they're not going to be bendable, so do be on the lookout for that. Here we have G.M.K's big meaty thighs, which are absolutely enlarged. In the movie they were pretty damn big anyway, so I'm not like overly concerned, like, oh no, this crack and crevice is inaccurate. Yeah. No. Again, it's gonna be looking pretty damn sweet here. I do like how you keep the folds in the suit onto the actual figure. The kneecap here looks very nice and very cool. And here for like the shin, more or less the same thing. Again, I kind of wish there was like a wash or something. Here for the claws back here, well down here I should probably clarify, we do get a lot of the nice spray and detail, which here we have these three hitting the ground. This one kind of more elevated. So I guess when he really goes to stomp, he's leaving like these three on the footprint, this one not so much. And he doesn't have a back claw, but I think he would look really cool, the back claw. And lastly is going to be the tail. It's not an overly long tail. I would feel like, as far as like proportion to the body, it definitely looks a little weird having like this long, slender like tail to this massively thick body. So maybe a bit misproportionate, but that's more of the movie's design fault. But for the actual tail, you get all this spray on top just to guess a better look here. Nice spray to the tip. Of course, some of the segments unfortunately do have more sprayage than others, like this has more spray than this, and the other side is relatively smoothened over, I'd say. Not bad. We do have a nice like bit of a transition detail wise from here to here, but as a whole, just to one more view, this side, front, this side, above, underneath, and the works. So for the G.M.K Godzilla, I think the sculpting and paint is actually pretty well done. It's not my personal favorite, especially because like the paint job could be a bit better, but for the sculpt work, because I think that's honestly like MonsterArts' main selling point, aside from the posability, which kind of sucks half the time, it's not bad. Honestly, I would say that this is probably one of MonsterArts' best sculpt works. But that said, I definitely think that the paint could have been a little bit better, especially when it comes to like the white spray and maybe a bit of a wash. If it had those, really wouldn't be complaining here. But as it does now, I'm going to rate the sculpt and paint here. Really good sculpt, not very much well in paint. A 7.5 out of 10. Very, very good sculpt. So for articulation, we have a ball joint here at the head. Get a good look at that squeak, huh? The jaw is on a ball joint too, so you can open, close. Although something to keep note is that because of the way the mouth is sculpted, if you have it open, it looks fine, but if you have it closed, he has a bit of an overbite. So, because the jaw doesn't reach enough here to actually like get it one-to-one, so there's that. The tongue, yes, the tongue is also articulated, which you can move it side to side and a tad bit up. I would caution you moving it up because I've had my fair share of cases where it actually like popped out on me, and it's a pain in the butt to actually get back in. So for this ball joint, on the midsection of the neck, you can actually rotate a bit. So up and down. For this one, you can go up, down, and go a little side to side. Very squeaky. You're going to be hearing that a lot. Shoulders, ball joint here, right here. Yeah. Nope, I'm not risking that. Don't know why I was trying to force that. But you can also go out like that and in. Although the bicep is primarily going to be doing the talking here because you can actually swivel that. Hello. Double hinged elbows so you can straighten out, bend in, and ball joint here at the wrist. Swells up and down. I think, which one was the wrist that had the problem with the popping off? One of them was like the problem child. Oh, found it. Surprised it stayed on that long. For the waist, I can actually show you this because it actually does have a bit of a problem here. The waist itself is connected by a double ball peg for here and under here. So when you go to move it, you can actually like slide it, kind of make sure you MacGyver what you're doing. And you can really get Godzilla to hunch forward. Although do keep in mind you're going to get that ugly gap. So if you want to fix it, boom, there we go. So you can also move a bit side to side with them. It's very limiting, however. And there's also like all this white powder inside my figure. I don't know if... I really don't know even to this day what it is. It's always been there. But like... I don't know. I honestly never really understood. Maybe that was just some gunk from the factory. We have ball joints here for the hips, so you can go out to the side like that. Just kind of close that in. Out and in. And go out and in like that. Forward and back. So you can kick actually pretty far forward, go back a little bit. Double hinge is at the knees, although for my knees, mine love to pop off. Actually, I don't think this knee is the one that pops off. This knee, I think, is the one that pops off. There you go. See, there's the white powder again. I don't know. It's almost like in every orifice of the figure. But thankfully, this kneecap is a free-floating piece, so if you don't like a gap, just seal it. There you go. Calf joint, ball joint here for the ankles, and go back and forth. And of course this long tail, which has many ball joints, although younger me was an idiot and broke his tail joint right here. So for the actual articulation, well, actually just a bit more demonstrate with the tail. You can curl in, go up, and it actually holds its pose. So I don't know how this one holds its pose, I guess because it's a lighter, slimmer tail. But it can do the job. So, for G.M.K. Goji, I would actually say the articulation is one of the better ones of the MonsterArts figures that I currently own. Is he perfect? No. I think the waist connection is a little bit iffy. And things like the shoulders could be a bit more freed up. I mean, then again, he can rotate a little bit. So does that really negate it? I would really say no, because, I don't know, it just feels like you're about to pop everything off. But if you handle him correctly, he should be really well worth it. So I'm going to say 8.5 out of 10 for the articulation. Nothing too much to complain about. He's pretty damn good. So for some size comparisons, here he is with some other G.M.K. figures in the 6-inch variety that I own, with the Bandai G.M.K. King Ghidorah from 2001, which is, to my knowledge, not counting the other variations of this guy, the only 6-inch scale King Ghidorah from 2001? I could be wrong. Could be wrong. We're all human, we all make mistakes. Something I wish people in this world understood more. And the mechagodzilla 2001 Atomic Blast variant, which it's kind of ironic that I own this one, but not the regular variant. I own this one, but not the Atomic Blast variant. So I guess that's one way to really put these guys hand in hand, which also for anyone wondering, no, he does not take the beam effect. He doesn't have the peg hole nor mouth design to accommodate this one. So there's that. And for some more size references, here is compared to the MonsterArts 2002 and the mechagodzilla 2003. And it's ironic that both of them have the same problem with their hands. Come on, there you go. So, I guess they really are brothers. And here he is compared to some other MonsterVerse Godzilla products, or I guess just MonsterVerse Godzilla products in general, with the SHMA 2019 Godzilla and the mechagodzilla 2014 of the Amber's Godzilla Show fame. And here they are next to some NECA Godzilla and Kong figures with the NECA 54 and the NECA King Kong original. And I would honestly say, like, this pairing, that's not a bad pairing at all. And so overall, for the SH MonsterArts G.M.K. Godzilla, what do I think of this dude? He's actually pretty sweet. For what was basically my first impression of the MonsterArts line, this wasn't a bad way to go. I definitely think an accessory could have been nice, especially because of how much stuff G.M.K. does in the movie. But with that said, the articulation, pretty damn sweet, sculpt, exquisite. The paint is really where I kind of have a problem with this thing, because for a new Godzilla design, he sure does lack a lot of things. Or at least a new Godzilla design at the time, because it was like repaint season, and we finally got a new sculpt. But with that said, would I recommend him in 2025? Your mileage will vary, because with the higher toys variant coming out, it's pretty safe to say that both the NECA and the MonsterArts are kind of both at a crossroads with each other, because there's a newer, bigger, well, I guess maybe it's bigger, I don't know. It's a bit more higher quality with up-to-date technology, because this one is from, I don't even remember when this thing was released. But as far as like the aftermarket prices are concerned for this thing, if you want this figure and only this figure that badly, don't spend more than $150 on this thing mint in box. If you can find it cheaper for that, then go ahead. If it's anything more than that, no. Stay away from this thing. That said, my final score is an 8 out of 10. That said, thank you guys for watching, and if you guys liked it, definitely subscribe to the channel, and see you guys next time. Peace out, everyone.